and say, if we use that analogy of a tree to look at our lives, so our roots is the history of life experiences. And because everything, the life of a tree, the quality of life of a tree depends on the nutrients it gets from the ground. What it feeds on comes from the ground. So similar, our lives, the quality of our lives depends on what we are feeding on. And what we are feeding on comes from the roots. Life is 90% reaction and 10% action. So that reaction are the programs the programs that are running. Actually, I should have said life is 90% program. Subconscious, the programs that are in our subconscious mind. Just like a computer has a programs running. Yeah. So our minds are programs that are running, and those programs are set when we are children. I have a child now, she's just over 1 year old. Her memory came in when she was born with some capacity for some actions. No one taught her how to drink. She can drink on her own. There are things she can do on her own. But there are things we are socializing her into. And those things are getting written into her subconscious mind. And then as adults, we pick up from experiences, from once, all these things, once you experience, once you subject yourself to the same experiences, or you listen to things over and over again, or you have traumatic events happen to you, they will write themselves into your subconscious mind. And then you begin to see life a certain way. There are things you fear, there are things you say yes to, things you say no to, things you disqualify yourself from. They all come from, those are responses from the programs that are running. Those programs are the roots because they are not visible, but they are the ones running the show. That's why you tell yourself, oh, I'm this, I'm this. If you say I'm a woman, so I can't do this, it's because you are told that there are things women cannot do, or I'm too young, or I'm not educated enough. You've been hearing stories and you even have evidence. Limiting beliefs are not wrong. It's true in your experience that people from this area, people from this tribe, because you've had the stories. But we'll look at how to overcome and build limiting beliefs. And one of the questions you need to ask yourself is it true in all cases? Can't I find examples of people that are similar to my age or my gender or my situation? The label that you've given yourself that have broken through this barrier that I'm creating for myself. So the trunk is your life today, and then the fruits are your big accomplishment. So we can also look at the buds. These are the fruits that will show up later, which are your hopes and dreams. So like I said, with the roots, you can look at how you grew up, where you went to school, churches that you go to, like the situations or experiences that shape your beliefs. Home, your parents, your siblings, church, school, the content you consume, what are the books you read, what is the media that you consume. All these form your beliefs. Are they reinforcing your beliefs, or are they the good beliefs? Are they reinforcing the bad beliefs, or are they helping you to overcome limiting beliefs? Sometimes you watch something on TV, like I stopped. It's interesting to listen to all these political debates and what, but sometimes they just paint a very dark picture. You're listening to how this economy, this what, it's so bad. It's like how do you then wake up and think you're going to win in a bad economy, in a bad So sometimes you just have to stop, because if you're listening doesn't, what you're listening to or you're exposing yourself to, or even friends that you're around, if they're always negative and always, or you sit and you're all feeling sorry for yourselves, it doesn't empower you to become stronger and break out of that situation. So to overcome limiting beliefs, you need to you need to start from the roots. These we've seen. And the other most important thing about limiting beliefs is that it is you who is telling yourself that story. It is a story that you've crafted and you keep reinforcing every time you hear something that reinforces it, every time you people that make you feel that way, you are making it stronger and stronger and stronger. So since it is you, because like I said, you can experience the same situation, you can grow up in the same home, our parents can beat us, both of us. One will live saying, you know, I shouldn't do that thing again. It's actually not a good thing to do. The other sibling might say, these people are cruel. And they'll go on believing that the parents are cruel. So, same situation, two responses. Or someone might say, a parent might say, or a guardian, you will never amount to much. And one person might say, you know what, I am going to succeed so that I show them that they were wrong. Another one will take it and say, you know, that my uncle said that I will never amount to much. So it is you, we have to own the limiting beliefs. It is us. It is the interpretation you give to an experience, to something someone has said, and then you own it and it becomes your thing. So how is it undone? It is still you. Someone else cannot come and undo your limiting belief. It is you to tell yourself a different story. But you can't tell it the way, sometimes motivational speakers will say, stand up in the mirror, say, I am successful, I'm successful. Your mind will not accept a lie. Yeah. So we are going to look at some of the ways to make yourself change the limiting belief in a way that you will believe it yourself. So different types of limiting beliefs. Hopelessness, it will never work. Helplessness, why does this always happen to me? Some people never try anything because they have no hope. They think it won't work. I won't try that, it won't work. Before they even when everyone, you're the business leader, everyone is saying, let's try this. It might be what we need to make the business work. I'm like, no, it won't work. The victim mentality. Why does this always happen to me? Worthlessness. I don't deserve to be successful. Like for us in our tribe is not, I'm from the wrong tribe. I'm not educated. I don't deserve this. So like I said, limiting beliefs are not necessarily untrue. You can tell yourself there are only 24 hours in a day, I can't do more. But then some people do more within the same time. And yet some are not true. There is no time in my day to work on my goal. There are things that we tell ourselves, I want to work out. But then you don't work out 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, and you're like, oh, I just can't find time in my day to do that. But is that really true? You can reduce some of the sleeping time. So with limiting beliefs, the most important thing to deal with them is to question, is this really true? It is true for you, but is it a universal? Is it a universal truth? Just go to that section. So I imagine we all have figured out your limiting beliefs as I was talking. You can just identify one that you can work through as we go through things, what's holding you back? What is that reason? And it is real that is holding you back from achieving your goals. Every time you think about your goal, you're like, no, it will never happen because of dash, dash, dash. What is keeping you stuck? What is challenging you? That is the limiting belief. So if we can think about that for a moment, if you haven't yet, while I was talking, please do so. So how do you reframe your limiting belief? A reframe, it's like when you have one picture and now it's in a certain frame and you change the frame, then you change the frame. That's what we do with limiting beliefs. You just change how you perceive that situation or that way of thinking. You just change the way you're thinking. So let's look at what makes a good reframe. One is that it should be something you believe. So don't tell yourself, I'm a success, I'm a success. If you don't believe it, it won't work. It should be something that you believe. And we're going to look at some examples. Number two, it shouldn't be the opposite. If someone says, I have 5 children, so I don't have enough time to achieve this other goal. I have to take care of 5 children. It can't be, I have enough time. I have 5 children and I have enough time to, you can't just make it the opposite. Or I don't have capital. And then you change it, I have capital, and then you start confessing, I have capital, I have capital. And that won't work. Your mind is intelligent, it won't believe you. Because you've spent so much time believing the limiting belief, you have to come up with a refrain that you yourself can believe to be true. It must be clear, specific, clear and specific to addressing that specific limiting belief. So as you can see, if you have more than one limiting belief, you have to write one by one, and then you come up with a reframe for each one. It might not be that if they are 10, you go look for the big ones, maybe the top 2, 3, then we will develop reframes for the 3. Because this limiting beliefs and dealing with them and reframing is a lifelong journey. The limiting beliefs you have today, if you start on the work of dealing with them, are going to, those ones will go away, but then others will come. Because for every level of success you get to, there are new issues that show up, right? And then you have to deal with those issues. So it is a lifelong journey. I don't know if there is anyone on this earth who doesn't have a limiting belief about the stage of life where they're at. So it should make you feel good when you say it. Because when it makes you feel good, then the mind is wired for rewards and incentives. Then your mind will be more open to believe it. So how do we go about reframing limiting beliefs? Let's look at this one. We can't start now. It's too late. A doubt that we have. So your reframe could be, you have to look back again. Look back into, so one way of reframing is to look back into your personal experiences. Sometimes you ask yourself, is this really true in all situations in my life? If you're 30 years now, if you're 25 years now, if you're 50 years now, really, can you say it has been true that you can't start now, it's too late? Is there a situation in your life where you started and it seemed late, but you're still able to achieve that thing, however small it is? If you think back and you can find such an incident, that helps you to reframe. You'll be like, but the last time I did this, I was able to achieve that goal. And that is the thing you need to now start thinking about. Every time you think I can't start, it's too late. Like, no, it's not true. Last time I was able to do this and I was able to achieve that goal. And they say what you focus on grows. If you focus on that, however small that incident was, if you focus on it and think about it more than you think about the many times you failed, that other thing it will become your dominant thought. They say we are not unlucky. We are just faithful to the wrong limiting belief. Yeah. Because the thing that you think about most all the time, the one that dominates your thought, the dominant thought is the one that shows up in your life. Our lives are made up of thoughts determine our lives. So if you stop thinking more about all the 99 times that you failed and think of the one time that you won and succeeded, that will become dominant, and that will become your dominant thought, and then that's what will show up. So try and think, but it has to be something that you believe. So it has to have happened in your experience. The process takes time. Be patient. There'll be moments where you go back, you regress, but and this is how it works. You've spent so many years. It's like losing weight. If I've been putting on weight for the last 10 years of my life, I can't eat a salad today or go to the gym today or this week and be so impatient when I stand on the scale at the end of the week because I've only lost 30 grams. This weight has been piling for 10 years. So at the very least, I need to give myself at least a couple of months to see the difference. So it's the same thing with limiting beliefs. They've been with us from childhood. They've been with us for so many years. So don't try it 1 or 2 times and then get frustrated that it doesn't work. It will take some time. Be patient with yourself and just keep, every time you're thinking, I can't do it, it's too late. You're like, but someone says it's important where you put your but. So it's too late, but there was this one time when I did it. So it's not that it's impossible. It is actually possible. So be patient with yourself. So the other way, so we've talked about one way to reframe, which is from your experience. The other way is to look around in your circles, in the people. So whatever you say, if you can't find an experience in your own life, is it true that there is no one who has done it? If you can find one person who has done it, like, yeah, so it makes it possible that it happened for that person. If it happened for some other person, then it can happen. The question is how to make it happen. But it is not true that it cannot happen because of, I'm a woman, so I can't do this. If there are women who have done it, if there's one woman who has done it, long ago, someone told me a story of a 5-mile run. For the longest time, people believed that it was humanly possible to run 5 miles in, I forget the time. Even scientists came up to say it is biologically impossible. Then one time, this first person beat that timeline. And subsequently, people could run the 5 miles in even less the time that people had said was impossible. Yeah. So it was a limiting belief. They spread it that, the scientists that's, I remember COVID, they were like, oh, if you do this, it created so much fear and limiting beliefs and whatever. And so it was the same thing then. They will come and tell you, it is impossible. So people don't even, we create a lead on our minds and tell ourselves it is impossible. But then what we needed was, what you need is one person to break through that barrier, and then suddenly that limiting belief is lifted. And then people started breaking the record, creating new records, and even doing the 5 mile in less than the time that had been said to be impossible. So look around and spend time on these days on social media. Social media is a blessing and a curse, depending on how you use it. You can get close to people without knowing them. You can follow people. Because the question you might ask is, okay, if I need to look for someone successful, how do I get close to them? You can get close to them through social media. People share their personal lives. What are their routines like? What are they doing? How are they thinking? They do interviews. They do so. Become a hard follower of someone who has overcome the belief that you have. And that will, every time the limiting belief pops up in your head, you will have a counter response to send someone else. And you may find that many of these people who are successful had some limiting beliefs in the past. How did they overcome them? Yeah, start to do the things that they do. They say you imitate before you innovate, and then you will overcome the limiting beliefs. So I'll stop here and listen to some of you. So, who wants to share their experience? I know I was supposed to talk about the depression in that place. Will probably bring the doctor back at some point, but you know, depression, like mental health starts in the mind. If we work with our limit, and even when you think about depression, someone has told themselves a story about their life, which is true in their experience, something from their roots, something from their home or work or how, you know, or, you know, their environment. And it's like I said, it's true. And they believe it. And it takes root. Because every time you think of something and think of it again, it's like a seed that you keep nurturing and you nurture. Every time you think of something and you continue to think about it, and even the other person is going through it, and the other one, you're giving it manure, you're giving it water, you're giving it sunlight. It grows and grows and grows and bears fruit. Now that fruit becomes depression. So it is always in the mind. Let's quote for you the Bible, which says that guard your heart with all due diligence, for out of it flows the issues of life. What do we allow into our hearts? We need to be more vigilant. Someone wants to share? Could share about limiting beliefs, could share about depression. What routines do you have? What works? Or please share some reference for your limiting beliefs. Some of you had shared in the chat. Okay, let's see. Someone wanted to gain tips for managing stress, burnout, and emotional fatigue. So what tips can we share? Real IPM Uganda. What tips can we share with him for managing stress, burnout, and emotional fatigue? You all deal with stress, burnout, and emotional fatigue. Can you share some tips in the chat? Or unmute yourself and share. Thanks. Okay, looks like they're not tips. So, like I said, personally, what I do is if it is stress, I need to understand what is the cause of the stress. Is it that I have too much on my plate? Sometimes when I have too much, it helps to write everything down. Then get a piece of paper, I'll get my phone out and type. That process of typing, it helps to declutter the brain and it takes away that feeling of being overwhelmed. Once you have the things written down, then you start to have a plan. The brain, once you give it a process, it will stop coming at you, that feeling of being overwhelmed. So write everything down. What do I have to do? A, B, C, D. Prioritize what am I doing first? What do I need? What is, so once you write everything down, determine what you're going to do. Number two, divide what is within my control and what is outside my control. I've learned to accept that some things are out of my control. I will plan and do everything, but then some things are out of, and I focus on the things that are in my control because those are the ones I can influence. So figure out what is within my control, what is outside. You see, like, okay, like I keep referring to the budget. It might be that some taxes are going to go up and there's nothing to do. That is outside our control. So there is no point stressing about that. We are not going to stress, won't change it. One of my favorite quotes is that stress is refusing to accept what is. The frustration and anxiety is not required for a different outcome. So stressing about the taxes will not create a different outcome. It is more productive to spend that time figuring out how do I reorganize my business. Do I need to start calling customers to tell them that there might be a price increase? Like, what can I do to make progress, to go forward? Yeah. So personally, that's work. That's what works for me. Emotional fatigue, all that is when the brain is overwhelmed. So declutter by writing down, figuring out what is my control, what is out of my control, what's within my control, what should I be doing now, and then rest. Sleep helps. Taking a day or two. That really good book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Habit number 7 is to sharpen the saw. Sometimes you're cutting the axe, you feel like you're doing something because you have activity, but the the axe is blunt, it always helps to take time off to sharpen it. So go and rest. It might feel like counterproductive, but it helps. When you come back, you'll have better solution. You'll have solutions to problems that have been there for 6 months. Suddenly, you will be able to see it with a fresh perspective and see a solution. And then reach out. Like I said, follow people, attend trainings, such gatherings. You might just come up with a solution to your problem. Say no to non-essential meetings and tasks. Yes, declutter your schedule. Allow yourself slack in the day to just reflect and think. Don't jump from meeting to meeting, border to border. Create slack in your day. Say no. Saying no, one of my other good quotes. A no is a deeper commitment to a bigger yes. Every time you say no, it's because you're prioritizing something else. So, and delegate without feeling guilty. Thank you so much. Okay, so that's all the time we had today. I think we can have a short one this morning. Thank you for staying. I hope the discussion was still helpful. Apologies, we couldn't get the doctor of the call today, but we'll definitely, she probably got an emergency. You know, life happens, you plan and then sometimes things don't work out, but we should bring her back some other time. Thank you, and wishing you a good rest of the day. Please check out the links, Business Health Check link, Best Training, Entrepreneurship World Cup. Those we've talked about, distress, you know, those are spaces that are good for you to acquire more skills, for knowledge, to get more arsenal in your toolbox for the challenges that may come your way. Sylvia shared a useful tip here, adjusting your boundaries. Yes, widen your boundaries to accommodate growth, and narrow your boundaries to limit drowning factors. Yes, spend more time around the things that serve you, people that propel you forward, and limit your time in those spaces that drain your energy. Thanks a lot, and wishing you all the best.